Hey y'all, in this video we are going to be looking at improper fractions and mixed numbers, what they are, how to go between those two things, and this is just meant to be a refresher because it's something you really should already know, but we realize some of you may need a refresher course on it, and that's what this video will do. It'll be very short, but it will involve some models to help your brain understand what is going on when we're switching between these things. So take a look at this. This is 1/4, aka a quarter. We call it 1/4 because if we take a whole and cut it into 4, this is one of them. This is 1 out of 4. Now this is 15/4. 15/4 is an improper fraction. We call it an improper fraction because the top number is larger than the bottom number, meaning that it is more than a whole. So it can be written as a mixed number. Now the reason we call it 15/4 is because there are 15 of them and they are all fourths. But again, 15/4 can be written as a mixed number because it is more than a single whole. In fact, 15/4 is 3 3/4 because for every 4 of them, you get a whole. So if I have my first 12, that makes 3 wholes, that's the whole number 3, and then the other 3, the leftover 3, make up the 3/4 of the next whole. So that's what the mixed number is. It's how many complete wholes you have, and then what fraction of the next whole do you have. Now, when you were in elementary school, you were taught to do this by dividing 15 by 4, asking yourself how many times does 4 go into 15. It goes in 3 times, because 3 times 4 is 12. So 3 would be the whole number. Now when I subtract 15 minus 12, then I would get 3. And this remainder is how many fourths are still left over. Remember, we're dealing with fourths. How many are left over after the 3 wholes is what this number is from. So that would go up here. So we have our whole number is how many whole times 4 fits into 15, and then our remainder is how many of the fourths are left over. All right? Now, this is 4 2/3. This is a mixed number, like we said. It's got our wholes. We have 4 wholes, and then we have 2/3 of another whole. Now this can be written as a improper fraction also. That means how many thirds is it? That means how many thirds is it? Now this can be written as an improper fraction as well. It just means how many thirds are in it. So in order to do that, we'd have to cut everything into thirds, and then we simply count them up. How many thirds are here? And if you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14, this is 14 thirds. We get each whole has 3, so that's 12, and then 2 more make 14. Now, in elementary school, you were taught to do this by first multiplying your denominator times 4 and getting 12, and then adding that onto how many thirds you already have. So that's how we get 12 plus 2 is 14, and then we keep the denominator the same, which means there are 14 thirds here. We got 12 from 4 times 3, and then plus another 2 makes 14 thirds. So that's the improper fraction. Now let's just do 2 examples real quick. So here it says 17 halves without a picture. 17 halves, 17 over 2. What's that as a mixed number? Again, you would divide 17 divided by 2. 2 goes into 17. How many full times? It goes in 8 times. 8 times 2 is 16. And when you subtract, you get 1. So remember, the how many times did it go in, that's going to be your whole number, and then how many halves are left over is your remainder number. So So there's 1/2 left over. It's 8.5, which makes sense. 17 divided by 2 is 8.5, right? 16 halves gives you 8, and then there's one more to get 17 halves. One more example. 3 and a 6th. We got to make that into an improper fraction. So again, we're going to do 3 times 6, and then we're going to add the 1. So 3 times 6 gives you 18/6, and then we'll add the 1/6 onto that, and we get 19/6. So this is a skill that you will need to have moving forward, changing improper fractions to mixed numbers and changing mixed numbers to improper fractions. That is your refresher course.